I hope you guys that tomorrow is the last day of spookiness for the month.
For the month. Okay. Spookiness for me is whenever I am in the mood.
Yep, but tomorrow is the day for a lot of people to have their jollies. But for me, I don't know. Today is going to be one of those things that I might actually participate in the conversation because it may not fit 100% within the genre,
Mm-hmm.
but it's close enough. I got something new and different to review today.
Oh, okay. An
Awesome.
interesting turn on Sleeping Beauty.
No, no, it's called Sleeping Betty.
Okay,
And
so it's not a
I
play
will
on
explain. I
Sleeping
will
Beauty.
explain the theme of it a
Okay.
little bit later because we still got to talk about Thundar and all the other spooky stuff that you guys want to talk about here.
Well, if we have time, I have two different books that I was going to let y'all decide which one I reviewed. So if we
Oh,
Well,
don't, it's fine.
we love voting here.
Yeah.
We love vote. We love voting here. So let's put it out there to the crowd because the crowd normally when the old regime was here, I would let the crowd vote on which book because I normally would review like 5 or 6 books. And I was like, here are your choices. Which one you want? And
yeah, it was like
I would give them certain hints such as one of them really pissed me off. If you really want me to rant, I will rant type deals, type hints and stuff like that. But
it was like this one I hated. I'm gonna rant on. These are okay, and we would all go rant, 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 rant.
Yes.
Poor
Uh,
Joe. That's good because I am under the weather.
okay,
Long COVID is kicking my behind, and I have to get up early tomorrow to make a run to the store to get household supplies. And so I am probably going to turn in early tonight, after I put whatever's left to dinner away.
did you at least eat yet?
I ate a little earlier. I had a bowl of oatmeal. that's, that's about it. Like a long COVID, I find that I can't, my stomach and everything goes,
yes. Well, we just got done eating too. My wife, the superstar, found the greatest recipe ever. If you're a fat kid who's poor white trash, it's awesome.
okay. What's
King's
the
Hawaiian
recipe?
rolls turned into cinnamon rolls.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Oh my god.
I I
I'm
had a
I'm
girlfriend
triple
when
diabetic
when
now.
I oh, okay. I had a friend when I was at Amundsen. One of the first people I made friends with was a young girl. Her dad used to take Pillsbury biscuits and fry them up as donuts. So he would stick a hole. He would kind of roll it, stick a hole in it, so it would be like a tube, and then throw it in the grease and fry it up, and then sprinkle sugar or dip them in chocolate or whatnot.
it'll be more like
That's
a
how
cake
he
donut.
made donuts at his house.
It'd be more like a cake donut than anything else, which works. That kind of works.
Yes,
That's
he
that's
was just
next on the
saying
agenda now.
the regular. It was the regular biscuits, not the flaky, because
Hmm.
they go a little crazy on you. But yeah, the regular biscuits, you could make them into dough. You could like make them into little circles and fry them up like donuts.
So we got people saying spooky and yes, pizza wrap. That's our
Oh, she
costume
was.
for tomorrow. Meaning says
I
no candy pizza, please.
I have been. I don't. If you're on YouTube, people, I keep forgetting the name. There are several people doing it, but I guess in the Upper East Side and other areas, people have really decorated for Halloween.
Hmm.
And there are some, and you can tell it's the houses of people with money because there was one house they had on the second floor balcony, this thing that went up as tall as the second floor balcony that was spinning around. They had it on a tall pole and it spun and things like that. They had big animatronic things, and it's like, oh yeah, somebody put these folks put money into this. But what I was really happy about was um, nobody wrecked their stuff. It was, people didn't go and say, well, how dare you put this up there? I'm just going to tear it down for the sake of tearing it down. We had put some stuff up last year, and one of the things we put out got broken because I guess somebody decided they didn't want to see, holiday joy in the area, which broke John's heart because it was something he picked out and asked me to put. But the block over with the building that looks like it's condemned, it's just, I got to get pictures of it so you can see it. Because like I said, when I first saw it, I thought the building was actually condemned. And it's like, oh my goodness, when did because it's not a huge building. It's like, when did they get condemned? And then, but one of the signs you realize, oh, okay, it's Halloween.
Right.
She's just put it together. And it's like, and nobody else on that block on either side has decorated, not even the senior building. So it was like, good on you. Good on you. Great. So I'm hoping that's like an upturn for the neighborhood. Okay. Are you guys decorating, Cliff?
We have decorated. We got we dual purpose our decorating because we decorate usually Nightmare Before Christmas, so it stays up for Christmas. But we have to be careful with our decorations because down here in the South, we got critters. And my wife tries to make friends with all the critters, and
she like Ellie Mae Clampett.
Yep. And one Halloween, the week before, she said, "There's a doggy outside," and I petted him, and he licked me. I was like, "Oh, okay." And a little bit later, I took the garbage out, and her new friend was still here.
It was the dog.
Eating all the Halloween decorations.
I'm sorry. I'm a bad person.
No, that's better than me because I was sitting up here thinking it's like, oh my goodness, he probably went outside and met Beauregard. It's Beauregard the bear. Now you know better Beauregard to go into the cement pot like that.
He even pulled the dollar store cobwebs off the brick wall and was chewing on them.
I'm so sorry.
And I tried to scare him off, and he was just a giant puppy, and he was just like, "Yay!" And I'm like, "No." I tried to spray him with water hose. He ate the water hose.
You're like, ooh, refreshments.
And then around midnight, he was still here, and he decided he was going to eat all of the girls' sidewalk chalk.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh no! So let me get this: your wife went out and saw the dog and was like, "Oh!" And the poor doggy was like, "A person who's not trying to hurt me." Puppy heaven. And then, even though she went inside, little pupper said, I think I'm gonna stay here and just make myself at home because she didn't chase me away and nothing's tried to come and eat me.
Yeah, I told her when I came back inside, I said, "Dear, your new friend is eating your Halloween decorations." And she just dropped her head and walked off. So,
well, at least, I mean, we have raccoons here on the south side of Chicago.
Oh, we have two families living in the storm drain.
Okay, so yeah, we get raccoons, and it is not unheard of sometimes at night to walk. When I first moved here, the building, like there's my building, then there's a vacant lot, and then the east-west street, there's a house. The lady that used to live there, when I first moved in, there was a possum that lived in her tree. And possum would and I just called it possum. Possum would let you know when you were walking too close because you'd be walking. Okay. Sorry, possum. Let me move over. Let me step over a couple of steps. Possum would be like, you too damn close. Move your ass out the way. You're too damn close. So you go. Oh, sorry.
Our raccoons have domesticated us. And they don't even run away when we come to throw out the garbage. They just move to the side and wait till we're done and then go in there and start eating. So,
like, what you bring us, dude? Did you remember the Chateaubriand?
Somebody
What?
told my
No,
wife that
no,
if you put
not even that. They probably looked up at it and was like, "Pardon me, do you have any gray poupon?"
somebody told my
Oh,
told my
goodness.
wife that if you put a motion light above the garbage, when they go to get into it and it pops on, they'll run away. I was like, no, you just gave them moonlight dinner. And that's all they do.
It's like striptease. Yeah.
Yes.
Raccoons don't believe in
We
ugly light.
we got
And
all the critters.
urban raccoons, you cannot shame them. You cannot skip. You can't. Urban raccoons are like, baby, I done seen and done it all. So I'm a move when I am in the mood. And when you see an urban raccoon in the back of a building, just chilling in the hangout part of the backyard, they just look at you like, what? It's like I could be paying rent here. You don't know. You gonna say something, and this is Chicago. Chicago's like New York. You never know when wildlife might be packing. So you have to think if that's a fight you want to get into.
Well, at least the one advantage we have over city critters is down here, they at least know we will eat them.
Oh, okay.
So they at least stay at arm's length. Because yeah, I've eaten possum and raccoon both. So yeah, they know we'll eat them. So they at least stay far enough away they can run. So.
Oh, okay. No, we have what we call the meta raccoon, which is this boy's got to be a good 3 feet tall on his,
It's on his
just
hind
walking
legs.
on all fours, not on his hind legs, walking on all fours. We were driving down 75th eastward, and we saw that bad boy go around the corner. My sister was like, "They get that big?" It's like, uh-huh. And considering his size, dogs ain't messing with him. Anything that ain't the size of Scooby Doo is not gonna tackle with that raccoon. But squirrels are. I used to say that in our old building when we lived at 60th in Indiana, that the squirrels in our neighborhood were packing because we had a lot of feral cats, and they of course had babies, and the kittens would chase the squirrels. And the squirrels would allow it for like the first few months. Then, as the kittens start reaching adulthood, they suddenly lose interest in the squirrels. So I came up with this theory that at a point, the squirrels will like ambush the kitten, and they pull out their knives and guns and whatnot and let them know they can neuter them or spade them without anesthesia. And the kid, and after, there's always that point. It's always around the same time, about 8 months old or so, the kitten stops chasing the squirrels. So it's like, we know. They ambush them kittens, drag them off somewhere, let them know exactly what the time of day is, and the kittens have a choice. We can skin you now, or you can live. And most of the kittens, they choose life. And the squirrels then get to go. The reason we had so many squirrels is the lady who lived in the building right next to ours. I mean, she lived in a house and had a huge oak tree in the back of her yard. And so and oak trees, people think oak trees fruit every year, and they don't. They fruit every couple of years. So they'll take a year or so off and then fruit again. They don't make acorns every year. But when it's acorn season, these squirrels, and it's not poop, it's just acorns. They crack the acorns and have acorn leavings all over the place. You kind of wish it was pigeons, because the pigeons aren't as crunchy. You're trying to get to or from someplace and you're downstairs, crunch, crunch, crunch. It's like, well, nothing else. The serial killers can't sneak up on us. So it's like a neighborhood alarm.
Okay, this is what we're going to end up doing. We're about to talk about Thundar the Barbarian. This is the tail
Thundar!
end of this month here, and we're continuing on with some more Hanna-Barbera next month here. We got 3 more for next month. We already got them already scheduled, so stay tuned for that. But
Cool.
nevertheless, we do have our Thundar the Barbarian here. I was able to find this one here that I think we could get away with here. It does have some footage beyond just the intro.
Okay. Thundar.
Thundar, the Barbarian. The year 1994. From out of space comes a
That's the future for when we originally saw this, 1994.
Man's civilization is cast in ruin.
So
We
you're
lived
gonna-
through all of this.
Earth is reborn.
But the thing is when you watch it,
a
you
world of savagery,
don't realize that
science,
if
and sorcery.
the asteroid
But one man
stole
bursts his bonds to
the
fight for justice.
Earth's atmosphere, we don't suffocate and die.
Princess Ariel, he pits his strength, his courage, and his fabulous sun sword against the forces of evil.
That's it, girl. Twirl that thing.
He is Thundar, the Barbarian. We now return with Thundar, the Barbarian.
It's nicely rendered. For the time, that's not bad. They must have got some Disney folks in.
Ariel, Ookla, ride harder. We must clear these woods by dawn.
Are you serious? We're not going to stop for the night? It doesn't make sense. We can't see 2 feet in front of us. And these woods are crawling with man-eating beasts.
The wizards will not expect us to ride by night. We are safe.
Huh? That was a human voice.
At least the horses understood him.
There is no escape, human. No one to hear your cries. Give me the pearl, and your life may be spared.
Never, Groundling. It belongs to the humans now.
A visit to our cellar may change your mind, Tyron. Take him away.
No!
There's that classic. No!
Attack the intruder! Attack!
Groundling's back!
Don't hold on, Holy Thundar. Lose your bow, Buck?
It's called whipping your butt. Just whipping some tail.
The Groundling's captive. Where is he? Here I.
And that be it right there. That's a different video. We're not going to watch that here.
That's
But-
okay.
That's pretty much Thundar in a nutshell here with his classic. No. you never go without a episode of Thundar where he does not say his favorite word.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
you will surrender to us, barbarian.
Oh,
No.
Okay. Kirby created most of the wizards and villains with Thundar.
Yes,
It wasn't just Kirby; it was Alex Toth also.
it was both of them. It was the combined effort. It was the combined effort. That's what made Thundar kind of like a cult classic.
Well, it wasn't just. It was like half the comic book industry worked on Thundar because Steve Gerber created it. Martin Pascoe and Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas worked on the episodes. And Kirby and Toth did the character designs, and Kirby actually did the production too.
Probably why when you think about the backgrounds there, that shot of the background, it's really lovely. It's nicely done. You know, there are some other Hanna-Barbera where the backgrounds are very, very basic. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to, it's fast and dirty, and it's like, no, somebody sat there and took some time and made sure that you were like appreciating what you were looking at.
I just like the fact that the character designers have my mentality. They wanted to know what would happen if Chewbacca and the Cowardly Lion had a baby. That's where we got Ookla from.
Ookla the muck. That's what a muck is.
Yes, but Ookla, you know, they had a horse. Ookla had a horse that, you know, he had a muck horse. So it wasn't like it wasn't like, okay, we got to figure out how to make it so a regular horse can take this bigger creature and stuff. It's like, because my first thought would have been like, okay, a draft horse, maybe. But then draft horses are not very fast. They're not made to be fast. They're made for, you know, pulling heavy loads, Clydesdales and whatnot. They're not fast horses. But he has his own muck horse. And it's
if
like,
you pay really close attention to different episodes, the animators forget to draw his horse correctly because he has more than 4 legs. Sometimes you'll see all 4 of them.
Acts as a leg from time to time.
Also, I noticed in the episode, I can't remember what they did, but they must have did something with centaurs. Is centaurs or satyrs, because you could tell when they're riding the horses to go to rescue the dude. Thundar and what's her name's horse, the gait is off for how they're riding them, and it's like, oh, they would only be doing this if they were like horse people. You know, they were centaurs or something, and they were, you know, horse bottom and human upper.
Those creatures are in Thundar too. They are centaurs and stuff like that in Thundar.
And what I'm saying is it looked like they took that sort of centaur running shot and just sort of drew them over it, because it was like, okay, the gait and the way they're moving is all wrong. This would be more if it was like centaurs instead of humans on horseback. It just it didn't quite track, and I'm sure I've seen that episode as a kid, and I didn't think of that. You know, it's just like, oh, look, they're riding to go see the dude. That's how I sounded as a child.
I thought you were going to say something when they jumped over the car. When both of the horses jumped over the car, it's like, oh, the jump sequence is kind of off here.
Well, I noticed it once I realized the gate was off, everything else was off for me. My mind was like, okay, they must have taken something else and for time and expediency, sort of drew over it. But, you know, as opposed to drawing the whole thing all over again, they just drew over something and this is what they got. And because it's for kids, you know.
Most people won't think about keyframes for like a centaur versus a regular horse. That's what it boils back down to.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you know, and I now wonder as an adult, how many other scenes of things that were done, you know, because you hear a lot about some of the Disney stuff. The Robin Hood actually is supposed to have been, they drew over for some of that stuff, they drew over other things.
Yeah, they reused keyframes. They
use keyframes from other cartoons and stuff. So it's like, yep, you know, when you're doing it on the cheap, you know, that's what you get.
See, now you got making me think about the Disney Robin Hood, especially dealing with the bard. because that would have been one of the first characters that I would have thought of that they kind of like
The
reused
rooster.
it. Huh?
The rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bard. And then Little John using similar keyframes to Baloo the bear.
Yeah. I like I said, like I said, as a kid, I didn't get it. Because I think the last time I watched Robin Hood all the way through, I think I was about 14 or 15 or something. And it was like they had run it on something. I think it had been a special on Wonderful World of Disney, because a lot of those great old Disney animated features, they didn't show on TV that often. You know,
Right.
if you were lucky, CBS might run Mary Poppins, or what's the other one? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Right. That was the car.
Yeah, so they would run like Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something like that. Or it's NBC would run, you know, this is the time of year in the next month or so when NBC would run Sound of Music and whatnot. But a lot of the not just Song of the South, but a lot of that Disney animation, because I didn't get to see Fantasia in the full until they re-released it in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Finally re-released it. They used to, when I was younger, Fantasia was like Rocky Horror. They would play it late. They would play it late night at like box or something. And it's like, great, I ain't got money. Or, you know, you're like 16. You want to see it, but it's the midnight run at the music box. It's like, and my mother's like, no, you ain't going out there. We ain't got relatives who live nearby. You are not running out to the music box for a midnight showing of Fantasia. Besides, you didn't even be seeing none of that anyway. So I didn't get to see. I think what was in the 80s or so, they did a remastered version. They remastered it and put it back out, and that's when I got to see it in the theater. Every once in a while, Disney would play like a little clip of Night of Bald Mountain, or
they always played the I want to say the abridged version of the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia.
You'd see the Sorcerer's Apprentice. In fact, sometimes at school, if we had assemblies, they may play that as part of an overall something. Like they would do the Sorcerer's Apprentice and then Ichabod and Mr. Toad. So if you were really lucky, you get all three of those. That reminds me, tomorrow's the 31st. I'm going to watch Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Hopefully I can have a bag of chips if I have enough money.
But I don't know. I just find it interesting, at least with Thundar. Thundar, pretty much developed up under Hanna-Barbera, but people don't realize it was distributed up under Ruby Spears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. But then, like I said, as a kid, I didn't
weird.
pay attention to a lot of that.
It was just so weird because you had so many comic book professionals. You had, like I said, Toph pretty much was Hanna-Barbera in the very beginning. He did all of those early designs and everything.
Well, those guys had to make money, and I think at the time they started doing that, they were married, they had kids, so they were taking extra work where they could find it to make sure that they could pay for school.
And it was when Kirby finally broke from the industry over the creator rights.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Hollywood.
So you had a lot of a lot of those guys were probably going, well, I got to pay the bills.
I still wonder what most comic book scholars would feel if Kirby did not release Galactus in the Marvel Universe. Because if he didn't introduce Galactus in the Marvel Universe, he would have been a member of the DC Universe up under the New Gods.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of like one of those things that's like he was setting down the groundwork for new guys to be in the Marvel universe, but never got a chance to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's weird because technically the Fantastic Four was originally, the prototype was originally done in Challengers of the Unknown. Instead of 4 different people having the different powers, and with one person that had all 4. And it was the kind of like the thing that led up to the development of how the Fantastic Four we got today.
Mm-hmm.
But just to think, when about Kirby. I mean, I think about Toph more so than anything because he did a lot of the classic Hanna-Barbera stuff. He did the Birdman. He did the Space Ghost. He did the Super Friends. He did all of this stuff. It just like you can go back and look at the model sheets, and you just like the designs were simple, but they were awesome at the same time.
But that was part of Kirby's gift. It was simple designs that, while they were, how do you say it? They were deceptively simple, is how I would say it. Because if I see guys putting out stuff now, and it's like, you need to go back and look at Kirby stuff, and maybe that design would be better. Or I'll see people putting out stuff, and it's like, dude, that's Kirby. You just changed the color you changed the color scheme and added a couple of knee pads. But basically, that's Kirby. You can see there are times when you can look and see things and go, oh yeah, that's that. I'm sorry, that's Kirby. That's
I wish
gave it a different name.
I wish he was around because I'm not certain what he would have thought of the one Cartoon Network show that they tried to use his style and animated it. It was called Minority.
Okay, I didn't see that.
It was kind of like a parody of the X-Men, but overly emphasized nationality.
Okay.
And it was drawn in a more Jack Kirby style format.
Did you ever watch the mid 90s when they had the Marvel Power Hour?
Yes.
And they did the Silver Surfer cartoon?
Yes.
That was straight, let's parrot Jack Kirby in every aspect of the show.
But they kind of ruined a lot of the scripting for it because the scripting did not match the archetype per se.
It didn't, but every time it's on Disney Plus, and I'll turn it on when I just want to be like, I just need to see some really bad Kirby art for a minute. So
this is like what Kirby would do if he was like, 6 sheets to the wind and was like snorting like 50 Adderall a day.
But I think people were too hard on him for one thing and one thing only, because I never really paid attention to it. But now, since I look back on it, I was like, well, why are people so upset about his art style more so than anything else? And you want to know what the biggest criticism that people had about Kirby back in his day?
Heavy shadows?
No.
Okay.
He couldn't draw cute women. Women's faces, more in particular.
There was kind of like a brutalist thing to his women. They weren't ugly.
No, they were never ugly, but they would just always talk about, well, we got to get this other artist to redraw her face. I was like,
they just weren't 50s pinup models.
That's part of the problem. That was part of the problem.
They weren't pinup models. And for me, that didn't bother me because I wasn't looking at them to be pinup models. They're supposed to be superheroines and women, who deal with stuff. And so it's like, it's like, okay, if she looks too well made up, that's just taking me out of the story. Because my first thought is, okay, how is she not smearing her lipstick? You know what I mean? It's
I
like too
mean,
much
put it this
makeup, and
way,
it's like, oh, she gonna smear that lipstick's gonna be smeared within 5 minutes. That one of her eyelashes is gonna be like hanging down or something. I just, she's scrapping with dudes. She's got powers, and they're scrapping with dudes with powers. Screw that, looking like a
Mhm.
50s pinup. She's not supposed to be Marilyn Monroe.
When
Her
he was
job
at
isn't supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. Her job is supposed to kick your butt and
when
keep
Kirby was
everybody.
at DC, they had someone draw over Superman every time he put him in a book because they didn't like the way he drew Superman's face.
Mhm.
Could you imagine having that job, having to trace over Jack Kirby?
Can you imagine actually having to have that job and then running into Kirby in the hallway? I'd be like, it's like, what hallway does he use? I'm gonna use the other hallway. Is there a back entrance to this building?
Unless he
Service
comes and past me
elevator.
on the show, it's like I want you to correct my mistakes for this editor. No, I'm avoiding him with all. I'm just avoiding him. Unless he's handpicked me to do that. I was like, no.
Yeah, unless he comes up and says, hey, you know what? They're just up my butt about this, and they want it to look a certain way, and that's just not me. So I'm gonna handle all their stuff, and you just make her a little more prettier. And it's like, okay. That's one thing if they come to you and ask, but that's not what happened.
Mm-mm.
They just grabbed some guy. Hey, you got your required things finished this week? Yeah, okay, pretty up this face. And it's like,
I think my timeline be off, but I think it was Kurt Swan.
It might that's Superman. Kurt Swan did.
Yeah, no,
Superman.
they had him. They did not like the way Kirby drew Superman.
Mhm.
So every time he put him in a book, they drew over him. And I want to say,
yeah.
I don't know if my timeline's right, but I want to say it was Kurt Swan. Oh, but yeah, I'm like, seriously, you hired Jack Kirby because he's Jack Kirby. Let him do Jack Kirby.
And his style, yeah, it's strong. The shadows are very heavy, but it's dramatic. It the story. You're looking at I have seen some comics where if you don't see the dialogue, you don't get what's really happening. Who's who's against who, the situation. Yeah, the dialogue helps make it a little. It should give you those subtlety things. But with Kirby, you knew where you were in the story at all times. You knew the way the story was going. You knew where you were. You kind of had, once it was established, you knew who was who. Unfortunately, and I've seen people who've done beautiful renderings, but it's like, okay, if you took away the dialogue, all you could say is pretty pictures. You'd have no idea what this story is about. You'd have no idea why, who was doing what and whom and why this is necessary. It's just, okay, it's pretty pictures.
It was Murphy Anderson and Al Plastino who had to draw over him.
Okay.
Oh, for the women's faces.
For Superman.
Ooh.
They had to redraw Superman's face and his shield because DC didn't like the way that Kirby drew him.
You mean the thing on his chest?
The S shield and his face. Al Plastino and Murphy Anderson had to redraw it every time Kirby drew him.
Because they didn't like the way he drew the. Oh my goodness! Maybe they should have I'm sorry. I'm now very disappointed. I'm now very, because I just I just remember reading Kirby comics and going, oh, this is a Kirby, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I tried drawing like Kirby and failed so miserably as a kid, because you think, oh, that's easy to do. And it's like, no, it isn't. And the fact that he could capture emotion, you knew when somebody was happy, when they were sad, when something was not, you could clearly see what was going on with a character, not just externally, but a bit internally as well. And I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. I'm a fan of Kirby.
There's certain people that I could honestly say that if you was given the opportunity to draw over their stuff, you would be up here like, why? Kirby is one of them, and the other person that I could think of off the top of my head here is Will Eisner. You do not draw over Will Eisner. Will Eisner stuff had too much expression up in it, and if you try to draw over it, you're going to lose something. Something's going to be lost in translation.
You might as well go take a crap on the Mona Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
People have done that. People have tried to do that, though.
Yes.
But now, you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I have read that they're supposedly in the late 80s, or no, it'd be in the early 80s before he left for DC. They had people redraw George Perez's panels because they didn't like the way some of them were drawn.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of drawing, before I forget, Cliff, hold on. I'll be right back. Keep yourselves amused.
Okay. Well,
I
will hold off. I will hold off in reviewing that until after she gets back here. But
I'd forgotten until we turned on Thundar.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 70s and early 80s, everyone believed that the 90s was going to be hell on earth. That's because we had Thundar in 94, Escape from New York happened in 1997, Demolition Man was started in 96. We just were determined that the 90s were going to be the death of all of us.
Okay. This is
okay. Let me get you the bigger screen here because people need to see the draw book and be able to get all the details from it. So there you go.
Okay, Cliff, for your daughter. This book, it's called How to Draw 53 Step-by-Step Drawing Projects. I did a couple of these because I had got it for me, but it's got great instructions on, and they go from very simple to far more complex. And they have the instruction side of the page, how to get the basic shapes onto the more finished piece, and then they have a page that's blank so that you can practice on it.
Very cool.
So, like I said, I had started because I had it had been a while since I had been drawing. And I was just kind of working on getting some of my basic skills back. I love this book. And as I was getting the pens and the ink together, I thought, maybe your daughter might one of the girls might appreciate this, or all of them.
Well, we will see if the two smallest appreciate it, because as of this coming Saturday, my oldest is leaving the nest.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I think I'm dying inside.
College.
Well, no, she finally got an apartment. She does college online.
Oh,
okay.
She figured out the scam for student loans and is getting an apartment now. So
okay. But yeah, so
okay, I will take it.
They'll be over there for meals and stuff for meals and the washer machine and dryer.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
This is a great book. And Joe, next time you run to or from your storage place, I thought you could come and pick up the stuff I have for Club. And
my storage area is south of where you're at, so it'd probably be the next time I head to the
next time you have to go downtown.
Thing I can't even think of his name. Up to first aid.
Okay, so the next time you're heading over to Hyde Park, then
right.
Give me a holler, and so I can have this stuff ready.
Okay.
For Cliff. But yeah, so I have a book, and the instructions are very clear and very simple. And if for some reason somebody feels lost or whatever, they can hit on Timu up.
Okay,
that reminds me.
I also have a list of artists
Mhm.
I'm putting together a list of artists. One of the YouTube artists who does really interesting work is a young woman named Bailey J.
Mhm.
She's a Canadian artist. She makes big bank. Draw with Jazza. A lot of his earlier videos were very simple. If your daughter decides she wants to do more intense drawings, Alfonso Dunn, and I have his book, his workbook, and his book on ink drawing. In
Mhm.
fact, the guy who made Inktober a thing, his publishing company stole Dunn's work and tried
Okay.
to make it into him. That was the Inktober controversy
Mhm.
years ago. And I know it because I have his books. But and I can, if at the very least, I can scan pages from those books to send them. I'm
Okay.
not; those books aren't cheap.
Sure.
Those books
Right.
aren't cheap.
Okay.
So, but I would scan. If one of them are really getting into it and they want to learn how to do pen and ink and stuff like that,
Mhm.
Alfonso Dunn, he does videos on YouTube. The man is a master, and his books take you from very simple work and exercises to far more complex, and he lays it out in very easy to read. It shouldn't give a 12-year-old could easily follow this without
Okay.
any real problem. So I had said I was going to, do what I could from an art standpoint with the
Right.
education efforts, and I meant that.
Well,
And
thank you.
if you feel, if the girls prefer craftiness, also the Frugal Crafter also is a great artist. She paints, she does cards, like she's one of those ladies that do all the card crafting and stuff like that. There are women who do amazing stuff with that Tim Holtz paper crafting and stuff. So yeah, I can find, if you want, I will do a search. Some of them I follow already. Um, but as they get older and they start finding, where they want to do and what they want to do, believe me, I probably follow somebody who could help them.
I will appreciate it. We actually this week is Homeschool Spirit Week at the
Mhm.
little thing they do online, and one of them was they had to draw them future me.
Oh,
Uh,
Okay, hold
my
on. Hold
my
on.
11
Here we
year
go.
old.
Here we go.
makeup?
She wants to be a makeup artist,
Oh,
and
okay.
my 8-year-old drew herself in the future.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All both of them have manga influence on it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and then
Bad.
today they had to draw
Shame.
our
For
school
shame.
mascot,
uh-huh.
and our school mascot. It's a long story. It's an axolotl. Um,
I love that.
and my 11-year-old drew him as All Might,
Oh.
and my 8-year-old drew him as he appears on when we have MMA class.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. There are a ton and a half of girls who do anime inspired art.
Mhm.
They are the ones I follow are all amazing. In fact, if you just go to my channel and look up my playlists or my subscriptions, I have over almost 300 people I subscribe to. A lot of them are artists. You can look them up. And like Meeko, Meeco, is a wonderful artist. Though Sarah Fabrizi, Fabrizi, Sarah Sarah, I believe, or Sara, I can never remember. Does amazing art, and she does. For the longest time, she worked in alcohol markers, which are a lot easier to get. Copics, things like that. There are a lot of Copic dupes. If your girls are into alcohol markers, there are a lot of Copic dupes. Last year, as a gift, I sent my friend DC Chen because his daughter is getting the markers. Crayola has amazing markers. They are incredible. I actually did the one of the early versions of Your Little Friend in the Woods, Joe.
Mhm.
I actually did with Crayola pencils and their watercolor markers. You know, actually, I have a set of watercolor markers. Should I send those to you as well?
We actually have a Copic set we got for
Oh,
Christmas one year. So
well, excuse me. I ain't got no Copics, but
I still
I
have to
got,
give you that.
okay.
You
I
know,
got
you know what
Prismacolors.
what's in here, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am waiting for it. I got me some Prismacolors. But but yeah, so um if it depending on how my birthday is, if SNAP benefits go back, then whatever money I get from my birthday, I was gonna make a run to not Michael's, to Blick's Art Supply. If so, do you need fine liners or anything? Okay. But yeah, there are a lot of young women out there doing anime inspired art, and some guys. There are some guys who do some amazing stuff as well as comic book artists and stuff who are great. So yeah, like I said, go if you can go to my page, go through my subscription list. I would say look at a few videos and see who you like.
Okay.
And but if they are interested, Mark Crilly is an amazing artist. A lot of his stuff is kind of his early influence, because he spent a lot of years in Asia. He's a great artist, but he's put out comics and manga and stuff.
Okay.
And he actually drew a graphic novel called The Drawing Lesson. It's about a little boy who goes up to an artist and keeps bugging her until she actually starts teaching him how to draw.
That's how you do it.
Yep. So, but Crilly, and he was one of the first artists I followed on YouTube, and he has, if you go through his playlist, especially early stuff, he's got great pieces on early how to draw. Just early instructions on how to draw. He makes it really simple and makes it really fun. So yeah, Crilley, Crilly. But yeah,
All right.
and if they're going, well, what's the use of this? There are a couple of artists I follow, women who have drawn from Magic the Gathering and other playing cards, who do artwork that just make you go, I will never draw like that. They're just that friggin' good. And I actually follow an artist, Happy the Artist, a young Asian woman. She was already a good artist and decided she wasn't good enough, so she went to school. She's now in school learning how to be better. And she does, for her Patreon group, she does shorter videos for YouTube, but for her Patreon group, she does very detailed instructional videos for how she does her work, like if you want to get better at painting and oils and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's stuff for later, because I figure your girls probably aren't ready for oils. But
I'm not ready for them to have oils.
Okay, so you don't want the watercolor markers.
No, I appreciate it, but no, we're markered out right here. So
okay, so you don't need the watercolor markers, but the how to draw book, and then the pens. My lovely committee, and this weekend I will be going through to find fonts that are calligraphy based. There are some on Pinterest. There are some people who've done. If your girls like Lord of the Rings, there are several people who have done Tangwar, which is the written version of the Elvish language. And there are some amazing Tangwar fonts out there. Hard as all get out to do. So I would say let them start, because I'm thinking something like Blackhand might be simple to start with. I used to be part of the Society of Creative Anachronism. And so if you were a scribe, blackhand was one of the first calligraphy styles that you learned. And I had thought about becoming a scribe when I was a member, but I also had little children, and it was getting expensive in time that I did not have.
Right.
You know.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, ma'am, and it will have a good home here.
Okay. I just, like I said, if they're interested on Temu, on Temu, we are on at your service. Including, my birdie.
Yep.
Oh,
I've lost my bird. Oh, here he is, including Birdie.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me take the stage for a bit here because it's time for me to give kind of like a shout out and everything. The person asked me to go ahead and review this here. And yeah, this was a somewhat of a Kickstarter book, but I didn't get it on Kickstarter. I got it directly from the individual himself.
Ooh.
So, well, actually from his Whatnot page. But we want to talk about tonight's review from Unity Comics called Sleeping Betty.
Okay.
Now, it's not part of the spookiness that we have for like October per se, but the story is rather interesting. The person who I met was Jeff Simons, who is the actual creator writer for the series here, but it was done, the interiors was done by Marcelo's that came with Salisa. S-A-L-A, it's like S-A-L-A-Z-A.
Salazar?
There's no R.
Oh, Salazar.
Salazar, okay. And Robert Gold did the layout and design. The colors were done by Beto Mendez and Gerardo Filho. So pretty much Sleeping Betty starts out with kind of like a weird scene where you see a guy pretty much getting, almost like asphyxiated, and you notice that there's a purple scarf around his neck.
Well, she's strangling him with his own necktie.
And then somebody grabs the purple scarf, and he's just pretty much out there, left there, and we see some female legs going in the opposite direction, and the door closes. So the next page we see, there's some detectives that's there. They're up there. It's like, well, how, nobody saw who did it. And it was weird because nobody came in, nobody came out, but yet he was strangulated to death. He was strangled to death.
Okay, so nobody came in. Well, we saw the legs walking out. So somebody went out. We saw the legs walking away.
Exactly. So now we get introduced to Betty, who is a actual, she's a waitress at this diner and all this other stuff here. And I won't pay any attention to the obvious stuff here, but she's there. She's there. The chef was up here. It's like, okay, you're late again, this, that, and the other. And then she happens to wait on the two detectives, because the two detectives and her are actually friends and everything. And they happen to be talking about the case, their caseloads and everything to that magnitude. And they eventually told her about this one guy who was, dealing drugs to all these different kids, and that about how they're about to get ready to take care of it and this, that, and the other. And she kind of says to herself, it's like, okay, if that's the case, well, that's only, she tells herself, it's like, only if I don't get to him first. So we see her leave for the night. She goes back to her apartment and everything. And she says, like, okay, fine, time to track down this guy and do what I need to do. So all of a sudden, you notice how you have the lines that's there that's indicating that something weird is going on here. So she finally tracks down the guy and everything, and she takes that same scarf, strangulates him to death.
Okay. So she's got a way to move interdimensionally.
But here's where things get messed up.
Uh-oh.
So he she does the deed and everything, but one of the detectives happens to be there at the time she does it.
Oh no.
And he's trying to figure out what's going on in this, that, and the other. So for her to escape, she didn't go full force with him, but just enough to knock him out.
But he saw her.
He saw her and everything.
Okay.
So pretty much, the following day she gets in late again. The chef yells at her again, and she sees the other partner, and she's like, well, he got hurt on the mission, this, that, and the other. And he tells her about, they get the phone call, like, okay, he woke up, he's now out of his coma. So now they go over to the hospital and everything. He was up here trying to, tell his partner everything is okay. Nothing really happened. It's kind of weird that, I was taking out this, that, and the other. And then she's kind of standing in the background, hearing everything. And she brought him some food and this, that, and the other. And the partner eventually goes out the room, and now she finally tells him. She finally tells her, it's like, no, technically I was not there in the room. She has this ability in her sleep to be anywhere that she needs to be.
So she's somewhat incorporeal when she can manifest as a dream.
Exactly. So in other words, she's kind of like a Freddy Krueger in that aspect here. She doesn't make anything manifest in other people's dreams, but she can take people out in real life
with her dream,
in her sleeping state.
Okay.
So now she finally tells him exactly, like, yeah, I've been that vigilante that you guys were looking for, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, she really didn't mean no harm, but she did it because she tried to protect herself, and this, that, and the other.
1, 2, Betty's coming for you.
So pretty much, he finally gets out the hospital, and he's trying to, the one partner is trying to tell the other partner, it's like, hey, trying to fill him out to be like, hey, I got this secret. I'm not certain how you want to take it if I tell you, and this, that, and the other. So he was up here. It's like, well, we still got to work on this other case and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be up for it. Yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
So later on, he finally calls up Betty. Betty was like, okay, fine. That's who you're looking for. This, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, I'm not certain what's going to happen. This, that, and the other. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, fine. I'll take both of us in, and we'll figure out what to do while we're there.
Wait a minute.
He's going to sleep. She starts to sleep.
And are they together, or
Yes, because she again, her powers allow her to be in full physical manifestation mode while she's sleeping here. So she
but I'm saying, are they sleeping in the same room?
No.
Okay,
no.
That's quite the power.
No, they're not in the same room.
That's quite the power that she can reach out to him and take him with her.
And that was the strange thing, because it's like, when we first see the mission happening, you just see her doing all this other stuff, and then he pops up. It's like, hurry up, Betty. It's like, we don't have too much longer, because daybreak is about to get ready to happen, this, that, and the other. So she's doing everything within her ability to get all these people, therefore they could go ahead and start tracking down everything else here. And then he's like, well, what happened? Those thugs pinned me to the corner, and I couldn't get away. And she's up there like, yep, I killed him. That's what she does. That's what she pretty much does. So she comes in the next day. It's like, wow. She's late again. The chef is always, getting on her case and this, that, and the other. And then dude stands up for her because he knows what actually happened that night.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, she's up here being like, ready to order this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. And then he finally tells his partner what they did, and that she's the vigilante that they was looking for.
Uh-oh.
And that she's been helping us all along. So the book, deceptively enough, the name Sleeping Betty was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought she was going to be like a sleeper agent. But it turns out that she's kind of like a cross between, I hate to use other people's IP, Dexter and Freddy Krueger's. That's what she pretty much is.
Yeah, and that's what all of a sudden I hear is 1, 2, Betty's coming from you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix.
But overall, I think it's for first, people know how I am about first issues. Things that I look for. 1, did you give me enough story to make me want to read the next issue? 2, did you introduce the characters well enough to make me care about them? 3, was everything coherent where I didn't have to make guesses at stuff?
Okay.
Mr. Starter, you have satisfied all 3. You have satisfied all 3. It's enough that's there that makes me want to read the next issue, even though I didn't like the cliffhanger. To be quite honest, I would have ended it right there on this page.
Okay.
The guy gets pinned down, this, down, the other, and he's trying to figure out what does she do. I would have never gone on to the next day where he finally tells his partner that, yeah, Betty is the vigilante. That to me is, you want to always end on a high cliffhanger to be like, oh my goodness, I got to find out what's going to happen now. As opposed to, oh, the gig is up. He told him. Now the only thing that I got to look forward to is how he's going to react. To me, that's not a big enough cliffhanger. That's not a big enough cliffhanger.
You would have started the book with where he ended it. You'd have started the next issue with where he ended it. Okay.
Exactly. But, that's my mindset, both as a writer and an editor in chief here, because I think at this point where he's going is like, where he's going like, what happened? What's going on? It's like I was pinned down. I didn't see what was going on. That would have been a perfect spot to end issue 1, because now you got people, grip, in the grips that he doesn't realize that she's a murderer, that she can't help herself but to murder. But
looking at it from his perspective, he may have, for him, in regards to the story he's trying to tell, he may have felt that the better cliffhanger, because now the question is, what's the partner going to do? Is the partner going to accept that they are getting help from her? Or because the thing is, how do you walk in? Because the partner hasn't been brought in. All he knows is what the guy told him. So it's like, are you, he doesn't know if his partner's gone insane or this is real. And either way, how can he walk up to their watch commander and prove this? All he can go on is what he's told him. She doesn't leave behind the murder weapon that goes with her.
But again, he saw her firsthand commit the murder on the other perp.
Yeah,
so now you're going to up here set it up where it's like, who's more believable? Is he believable enough to know after what he has suffered?
Yes, but what I'm saying is, and understand, we're also talking a different generation of readers. And what they find suspenseful as for what we as older readers might consider suspenseful. And yeah, the guy saw her, but he didn't admit to his partner when he was in the hospital, I saw her there. He didn't tell him that then. He doesn't tell his partner about it until after they went on
to this second mission.
To the second mission. So the partner still doesn't know because what I'm saying is he has to be able to have proof. The
Mhm.
partner can't go to their watch commander and say, well, we know who's killing these guys, because he doesn't have proof. Unless they make her do this again under observation. In other words, they give her a target. They figure out a way to watch that target, and they have him give her a target and then watch and sees what happens. So, because at this moment, it's right now, it's just hearsay.
Well, it's not something that could be easily proven because, again, she has a physical alibi. She's not there. Technically, she's not there.
And like I said, unless they find, now she is strangling him with a scarf. So the question is, are they finding anything from the scarf? Like, usually, depending on the type of scarf you're
so far, nothing.
Using, that's what
Zero.
I'm saying. They're not finding any. They know the guys have been strangled. They know it wasn't by human hands, but they don't know if it was a scarf, if somebody went in with rope, a garrote or something. So
there's no fingerprints on anything, and that's what's throwing them off here until he saw, because he saw her.
But the thing is, the partner that I'm looking at it from the point of view of the partner that he tells.
No, which is also about the reaction. That's what I'm saying. The reaction being the cliffhanger, to me, is not as good as, well, what we're going to do now, since I was pinned down, you killed pretty much all these other people. How are we going to deal with this? Because now I'm an accomplice. You see the difference here? You kind of see the difference of what I'm getting at here.
Well,
because technically the other detective was not there on that scene too, because she brought both of them in. No, they're not leaving any type of fingerprints, nothing on that scene that could track them.
You said she only brought the guy who saw her the first time in.
Right. Even with him being there, he's not even leaving fingerprints and stuff because they're both asleep.
So since he's not leaving physical evidence. If this guy goes, because I'm thinking beyond what it is to the next logical step is you go to your watch commander, because you have to fill out reports. And he's got to say, oh, so-and-so was there and he killed all those 3 guys. Now the watch commander's got to go, he killed all those 3 guys by himself. How do you do it?
No, that's the whole mystery of it, because he can't say that because technically he wasn't there. So who was there to take out all these people?
That's what I'm saying. He's not the partner is not an accessory, because he didn't take part in the murders. He was pinned down.
Technically he did.
No.
That's the whole problem with this scenario.
No, because he was pinned down. He was in a position where he could not actively act on the situation. They came up behind these guys and got the drop on them. This guy, while all that was happening, was pinned down. By the time he was actually able to get up and take action, it was already done. He didn't see Betty. He saw his partner, boom, disappear.
No. You misunderstand. You're misunderstanding here. It was only the blonde-headed cop and Betty that was on the scene here. The blonde-headed cop was pinned down in another area when she brought them both onto the scene through her sleeping.
So, once more, it's the blonde guy that she brought in through her dreaming. His partner was not on the scene at all.
Not at all.
Okay. And the blonde-haired guy was pinned down while Betty did the murders. But he can't prove. In other words, he can't give physical proof. The best that he's going to do is say, well, I think she did it. But if he can't give physical proof, guess what's going to happen? He's going to go for a psych. Because he's going to go for a psych review. Are you out of your mind? In fact, that's probably how he's going to start the next issue with his partner going, have you lost your mind? You know, if she wasn't, if there's, his partner will run it down. There's no fingerprints. She didn't come in. She didn't leave out. How did
Well,
she do
that's
it?
the whole thing. No fingerprints, no evidence that anybody broke into the place. Only thing they know is that
People
a
got
lot of people got choked the bleep
people
out.
got unalived. People got unalived.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is a younger reader might get, oh, okay, it's like, it's, I'm trying to think. One of the things I liked about the Teen Wolf series is when when he goes to his best friend and says, I'm a werewolf.
When you talk about what he's talking about was okay.
He
Team
goes to Styles. When he
right.
goes
That's
to
what I say. We
Styles,
had Styles
his
and
best,
Booth. Styles and Booth was the only two that knew
but
that
Styles knew before Booth did.
Booth did, yes.
He went to Styles because Styles was the one person in all the world he felt he could trust. He wasn't, a lot of those shows beforehand, the young hero would have been alone with the secret. Instead, what he does, and they end this, and I think that episode ended with him telling Styles, I'm a werewolf. And then picking up the next episode with him proving that he was a werewolf. And Styles going, instead of going, oh my God, he's like, okay, we gotta figure out how to make this work so that, you know, they don't unalive you by mistake. You know, Styles, his reaction isn't to freak out and run away. It's, you are my homie, and I got to figure out how we can work this out so that you can be safe and that you don't be my mistake. So Styles enters that world with them. It's like the series Gone Girl. You know, her little tag along when they find out she's Faye, she stays with her. You know, she stays with her. She doesn't run away. And because she stays with her as her backup, she ends up being drawn into the Fae world, just like Styles is drawn in to this sort of alternate reality within the area they live, where suddenly, oh my goodness, there are werewolves over here. There are witches. Right. There's a kitsune.
Right. Again, Beacon Town would never be the same, but then again, Beacon Town never knew how deep they were within werewolves.
They didn't know there was this other world beneath what they thought was reality, that there was this whole other thing to it. And that was one of the things, like I said, I liked, because we had seen a lot of these shows where someone had the secret and they had to hide it from everybody. And that's painful because you have no support. There's no one you can turn to when things get hard.
But
and things have to get so drastic that when you do turn to somebody, it can blow up in your face. I love the fact that Styles was that friend that was like, oh, okay, cool. We will work this out. We will figure it out. That's, but that's just my
but Styles was always the person that finds a way to market or to capitalize off of everything. So it was natural for him to be like, no, I'm going to stick by your side. It's like, you have gotten me out of so many different jams. I could keep this one and make it work for you.
Yeah. How many times have I screwed up and you've been there for me? So I'm going to be there for you. But what I'm saying is there have been other series where that was not the case. It's one of the things I liked about it. It followed more on, say, the heels of more adult series like Forever Night or the Highlander series. He didn't run around telling everybody he knew. Forever Night, he didn't tell everybody he knew he was a vampire, but the person he knew he could rely on, was a coroner. Highlander, Duncan didn't tell his, thing to everybody, but he let the woman he loved know. that this is my life. This is the world that I inhabit. We have this other life and things will go well, but occasionally somebody's going to show up and it's not going to be pretty. So she could make a decision of, I'm going to stick with you or I'm going to walk. You know, it was one of the things I loved about that relationship. She was with him because she knew the risks. She understood it, but she stuck with him anyway because that relationship was strong enough where she was willing to take that risk for him.
Well, that's the way I took the whole thing with the blonde headed cop, because he saw it firsthand. He saw her, and he didn't understand how it worked because he woke up in a hospital and everything, came, full circle. It's like, how is she not leaving any fingerprints and this, that, and the other? And they got to talking, and that's when she says, like, no, it's like all this stuff happens, as I am, as I'm sleeping, I have this ability.
But I guess my only thing about it is, and that she didn't kill him, because she doesn't want to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she doesn't want to kill him. She lets him live. Now he knows her secret. So she brings him in. What gets me is the fact that he then tells his partner. It's right away. It's like, I would have had a couple of issues go before I would have had him make that reveal, because yeah, he's your homie, but he's not hers.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
that's the key thing, because in a way, I believe she believes both of them. They've been, they've been talking about a lot of different crimes and stuff to that magnitude for such a long time, and she's been kind of like her. The other guy has been kind of like an informant for her. So
that's another thing. They're sitting there discussing cases so openly in somewhere that isn't the department, which my understanding of procedure is a bit verboten. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to sit there and discuss things to that degree where even the way, you're not supposed to be having those conversations around civilians.
Not to the degree that they've been having some of the discussions here, but they're not discussing strategies of how they're about to infiltrate something, but they've been talking enough, giving enough description of who they're looking for, why they're looking for, and all this other stuff for her to act on it.
But here's and that's the thing. You're not supposed to have those discussions around the public because you don't know who's listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a guarantee that there's somebody who may be in there. Have they never seen CSI?
Well, that's the thing here. That's one of the reasons why you're my editor, and I have that mentality. It's like, I see what he's trying to do, I haven't really dumped on the way that he's following police procedures, because it's like, okay, he's trying to tell a story about a mass murderer. So some of the stuff doesn't really fit, but it's more along the lines like, wait, if she's befriending cops already, how does this work out for them? And then now, since we know that while she does this, they can't they can't tie her physically to a scene. It becomes more and more interesting, because eventually it's like, how are they going to prove it that's her? It's like, it's going to be like their word versus lack of evidence.
That, not just that, but he doesn't tell his partner that it's her somewhere where he and the partner off alone. So you don't know who
it happens in the middle of the diner with the chef and all these other people.
If I was editing this book, I would have said we need to hit more mystery here. We've revealed too much too soon, and then and it's and how you're going about this is kind of not working. Okay, fine. They've been talking about this. they're breaking protocol, which is sloppy police work. And
I
she
think we
starts,
also
and
make
they
it,
can say, well, we know her, we trust her, blah blah blah, but still, there's a reason you don't do this, because, you know, I keep thinking, Silence of the Lambs.
you're up here going, you're thinking Clarice. What I'm up here thinking now, you said something that made me rethink where this might be going here. The one thing that they never did say so far in this story, we don't know if it's a big town or small rural town, because small rural town, this stuff happens.
This stuff is more lax, but we don't even know where we are. Which
exactly, that's another big mystery here. So,
I'm, if you had written this, there would be so many yellow flags.
Oh,
popping up.
You would be ready. You would be ready to rip me another one if I would have wrote something like this, because you would be like, yeah, you call me up, you kind of wasted my time because you didn't give me this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and it would be all up on these sticky notes and everything. I would have been like, I never thought about that, or I thought about this and went this way with it, or I have that in like issue number 5. It's like, no, they need to be issue number 1.
Folks, this is how editors work.
Mm-hmm.
They give us the story, they start breaking it down, and then we go, whoa, hello, and we start asking, did you check out procedurals? Did you do this? Did you do that? Why is this happening here? Why don't you wait until it happens there? That's our job. Why? Not because we're bug up people and we have sticks up our asses. It's because we're trying to make sure that they're telling the best story that they can in a way that's going to engage the reader and keep it moving. The more he tells me about this story, the more I'm thinking, this dude only had someone checking his spelling and making sure that he had the commas and the periods in the right place. He didn't have somebody who's actually engaging with him about the story, because we don't know where we are. Is this a big city? Is this somewhere like Chicago, New York, LA? Is this a small town somewhere? Where you place a story makes a big difference on how it's told and how things unfold. It is important for those of you who are watching, who will watch this later, if you're not watching it live, yeah, that shit matters. It
matters a lot. And
it matters
it wasn't until you said that I thought about it. I was like, you know what? We don't know if it's a big town or small town, because if it's a small town, sheriffs and stuff, they talk about that stuff openly and everything. If it's something that will help the greater common good. But if it's a big city, oh no, this will not be allowed. There'll be a very big breach of protocol here. And the partner's reaction would be, it's like, we gotta take her in. I already know. It's like, we gotta take her in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
You got to go to your watch commander and then listen to your friend explain how he saw her, she knocked him out, and then when he confronted her that night, she took him on a dream walk. Because I think in regards to the Native American stuff, and I would have to look it up just to which tribes do it, but there's such a thing called the dream walk. They used it to some degree in the Dream Warriors of the Nightmare of
Elm Street. I think that was like
Warriors. There was that
was either 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was sort of dream walking. They had learned how to not just experience the dream, but gain agency within them. So they weren't just experiencing the dream, they were actively engaging within it. So yeah, there are certain Native American as well as certain African and other traditions where such a thing is done. So, I am hoping young man. I'm calling you that because I'm in my 60s. And if you got a problem with that, show up at my door. Okay? Otherwise, just sit down and take it.
Well, I'm going to make sure that I give him the link to this video because he did ask for feedback, and I think this is the best possible feedback that I could give to him here because, like I said before, it's not a bad story overall, and it just like I said, it's like for me, if I was writing it, the cliffhanger would have started at the point where it's like I was pinned down, I didn't get to see everything what happened,
and I would have gone, like I said, I would have gone at least another issue before having her take him into the situation. I don't care how well, because bringing him into that situation puts her at risk. It's not just whatever risk it poses him, but it's at the risk it poses her. So because it's different when you're just bringing them coffee, you're slinging hash, you're bringing them coffee and their donuts or whatever. There's a big difference between, hey there, oh, thank you for the tip, and I'm gonna bring you in on my superpower. You know, it's to have all of that in one issue. And how big is that issue? About 30 pages?
Probably less than that. Oh,
So,
that's the other thing. Page numbers, people. Page number makes a major big difference here because people like to know how many pages that their books is. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That's another problem.
16 pages?
16.
He did all that in 16 pages.
Yes.
My first thing is, baby, that's not an issue.
For modern Marvel comics, yeah, this would be considered an issue for a modern Marvel comic, but
this
not
is 60 pages. 60 pages.
For what Marvel is giving us now. This would technically be considered a comic. What I do with Amazonia at 28 is unheard of as of right now. What I do with Primetime Saturday Night, people up here are like, why are you writing a graphic novel for each issue? It's like, that's not a graphic novel. 50 pages is technically not a graphic novel. That barely would be like, the old school 80-page Giants.
Giant size Conan. There have been issues of giant size Conan or the large size Red Sonjas that were 80 pages.
80, and then you had DC that had like giant size Superman family, Batman family that was 100 pages.
That were 100 pages. Children, learn to read. Follow a damn story, okay? It's not that hard. Really, do it in small bits if you got it, all right? But it's not that hard. Really, it isn't. Young man, like I said, I'm 64, baby. You got a problem, you come see me.
His name is Jeff Simons.
Mr. Simons, young man.
Yep.
Mr. Simon, young man. Before you put out another issue, we need to sit down and talk. I'll even give you an audience for free. Joe pays me. And Joe let you know I am tough, but I am fair. And my goal, my overarching goal as an editor is to make sure you're telling the best story you can. 16 pages is too fast for what you did. I'm sorry. You're not building tension. You're not building enough tension. You're not giving us enough suspense. You put it all in 6. That's like the first 5 minutes of a TV episode, of a series episode. And then it's like, oh, it's going to get good now. And then here comes the ending theme song. No. You got okay. I don't know what is passing for editing over at Marvel these days. But sweetie, it ain't got to be me. Find you an editor. Find you somebody who's read some Shakespeare would be really good. so you can discuss some dramatic structure. But dude, and because it's a good idea for a story, but you know, and the reason I said Shakespeare, you don't enter a Shakespeare when you enter a Shakespeare play, first thing you know is where you are when you are. That's important. It grounds the reader. You now have an expectation based on where you are. It's important. You give the reader a sense. For this, you give the reader a sense of what reality is, and then you take them from it. Okay? Or you can lead, as I did with the And the Coming of Nighttime. You can lead with something crazy happens, and then give us a sense of where we are and when we are, when it takes place, and then go your story from there. 2 ways to do it, but if you've given too much too soon. It's like a stripper who just drops her drawers and shakes her booty and walks off the stage. It's like, okay, I got the
in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
Do it in 2 minutes and be like, okay, I made my couple $100. I'm not going to strive for anything else.
It's not, and I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to shame you, but sweetie, oh goodness, talk to Joe, because that's all I'm gonna say. Sorry, Cliff. Well, this is what our sessions are like. This is how Joe and I are together.
I'm so sorry.
Why are you sorry? It's like I had to learn the hard way of rule number 1.
I don't know.
And so far I have not. Well, so far I came that close to doing it again, and I'm trying not to do it. And you want to know what rule number 1 was?
Elaine's always right.
No, not to make her cry in a story. I made her cry in a story, not in like, oh my God, this is bad. I mean, oh my God, this is so good. I feel for the character.
I like that.
It went for it. It's like I was like, I really liked it too. Like I really liked it, but then when you do this again, I was like, what did I do wrong? It's like, oh, you did everything right, honey, but you're not supposed to do that.
Critical Role, when you watch their animated redos of what they do on the table, as Struggle Nation put it, they're used to it now. You like, oh, this is fun. This character is hilarious. They're cracking jokes. He's smart. It's snarky. And the next thing you know, gut punch. And you're like, I just watched an English woman watch a series thinking she was just going to enjoy it. And each time she was in tears, going, I wouldn't expect it. And it's like, girl, you English. What happened to the stiff upper lip? It just, I want to be hit in the feels. Especially with that particular book. Getting hit in the feels is not a bad idea. Getting hit in the feels is good. It means you hit me in the feels. That's like we was boxing and you got the jaw punch in. And I was like, oh, damn, I'm all knocked out. Good. Now I got, I'm better now, so I'm a little more guarded. It's like, yeah, it's gonna take a harder punch.
Well, when she took that, when she took it hard, she was like, you are not supposed to ever do that again to me. You're supposed to give me some type of warning, something. You're not. I was like, but what did I do wrong? I don't. It's like at first,
no, I guess I was like, now he could have just wrote me a little note when he sent me this file saying, okay, come. There's a part in this where it's gonna get you. Be prepared. So I would have been like, okay, and then it would have hit me and was like, he did warn me. I get it, but no, it was like he wanted that visceral reaction of like, damn you, Joe. Oh. I went like,
and that's how she came at it. It's like, it felt like I just took one straight to the jaw. It's like, what did I do? You made me cry. It's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's like, it's a good thing. Oh, it hit me again. I'm like, okay.
It's a great issue. I every once in a while when I need a good sniffle, because as a chicken, sometimes we likes to have a good sniffle, I'll crack it open and look at that again, get my sniffles on. Sorry, Cliff.
Cliff, what she's talking about is issue 5 of Amazonia, where I actually talked about why she had to leave Angel Falls.
Okay.
So I told the backstory of what actually happened that one night. and it hit her.
If you want a really good ugly cry, though, read Afterlife with Archie.
Ooh.
Archie ain't supposed to make you cry. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. You don't want to read the end of that story because that would hit you in the feels too.
Nope. Archie is not meant. I do not read Archie to cry. I read
yeah.
Betty and Veronica. When I was a girl, I read Betty and Veronica for the dress, for the clothing design, because whoever drew Betty and Veronica, they were looking through Vogue and whatnot, because them girls were dressed, and you figure, okay, Veronica could do that because she got the money. And it was like, okay, Betty figured out how to fix a Butterwick sewing pattern. So she could match her, but I read when I was reading Archie, it was for the yucks, it was for the jokes, it was the lightness. The one where they did a what if, where Archie and Reggie got drafted, and their last concert, they performed a song and they wrote it for that issue called Pray for Peace. But the boys got drafted. And I think, it was Archie, Reggie, I think. Not Big Apple, the big blonde guy. Moose. I think Archie, Reggie, and Moose got drafted. Jughead did not. But that issue made me cry, and I didn't read Archie for a few months after that.
Yeah, well, don't read Afterlife.
She would hate Afterlife, especially the end of Afterlife with Archie. And she would probably hate the end of the What If series about who did Archie choose eventually to marry, because they did it in two different lanes here. It's like you had a couple of issues where he was married. It would have been like what would have been like if he was married to Betty, and the tail end was what if he was married to Veronica, and it kind of crossed over. And what happened at the end was also another tearjerker.
Okay. Don the Hunter is in the house.
Yep.
Hey y'all.
Yep.
Now,
I see.
If I may add to my my unprofessional 2 cents to the Sleeping Betty person, I do not know anything about the creator, and I'm not trying to say that, but from my perspective as reading comic books for a million years, he is one of these generations that has fallen victim to growing up reading comic books that were written by people who read comic books and who write them for the trade, as opposed to writing as a standalone issue going into another issue. So take a step back and realize comic books weren't always made for the trade. And if you're an indie comic publisher, you don't have to make it for the trade because you're writing the book how you want to.
True.
My other thing, and this is purely coming from the standpoint of someone who has spent 30 plus years moving their body, it is not that hard to Google body positioning.
True.
You need to really understand when you're drawing someone attacking someone else or choking someone else, how their both bodies should be positioned, because it's an art. Just like comic book drawing is an art, and drawing the proper way the body moves is an art. And if you don't know it, it looks clunky on the page. And it looks clunky when you don't know it, and you tell your artist, I want this, this, and this to happen.
Yeah.
Sup, Pops? How's it going?
Pops
says that.
Hey, Pops.
Yep, there he is.
Hey, how you doing?
Dude.
But yeah, that's my unprofessional, uneducated point of view on it. Other than that, and I love the title of the book because it made me think about that old song by Ram Jam, Black Betty, the whole time.
Yep.
Oh, Black Betty, Bam Blam. Yeah.
So, Cliff's comment is really more for the artist, because I kind of noticed that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it got away with it for the first page because it's like, the person was already dead, but
after that,
where she got caught at, was like, okay, how is she choking him the way that she was in front of him in that
Mhm.
Yeah,
aspect
that's
with the
you can't
scarf? It's like
Garrett
it
somebody.
doesn't work that way because it didn't even show that her arms were crossed to start a choking motion. She held it like this.
No,
Mhm.
she was supposed to be
It's like
garroting
that's
him.
just bracing his neck. That does not.
Yeah,
That does
that
not.
does no.
Yeah.
Proper garroting is you come from behind. That's that used to be in the ROTC student handbook. In
Mhm.
case you didn't know, how
You know,
to
and it's not.
garrot
It's just
somebody.
like it's also the things about like where your elbow is at when you're doing it. It makes it look. It doesn't because when you look at it, it looks wrong. And even if you don't understand what all's happening, you can look at it and be like, there's something wrong there. Like pet peeve of mine when I'm looking at a fight scene in a comic and they're throwing kicks and they're still facing forward when the kick comes out. It's like, how did
There's
they
a
just not
twist.
shatter their
There's a
knee doing
twist
that?
that's happening there. It
Yeah,
always
so
your
it's
body is twisting towards the motion of your kick.
yeah, so it's stuff like that that I look at, and even people who don't know everything about martial arts or about body position can look at it and go, "That's not right."
That's the image that we were talking about here. About to
Yeah,
show it to
Yeah.
to be a
that
screen.
does not work. He should be face down.
Yes.
He should be face down.
That right there.
Okay, for you young artists who are interested, go get a Pinterest account and then type in whatever fighting you're interested, sword fighting, kung fu, and guess what? And you can say, oh, just Google it and hit images, and images will pop up of what you're asking for. I do it a lot. I have a whole theme in my Pinterest account called Creative Necessities. And it's everything from plants to facial expressions. It's all sorts of things because right now, along with the second book of Anna Coming of Nighttime, I'm also doing an illustrated novel. And right now I'm still doing some of the research for that on their mythologies and whatnot. But what I do is I used to print them out, but now I have folders on my computer or a thumb drive or something that has photographs of what I'm looking for. With Anna Coming of Nighttime, I was like, what's fashion going to look like on this earth? And this is what Josette needs to look like. This is what this is what Steven looks like. Petra, when she grows up, this is her fashion. I'm now working that I'm at the point where Petra is now 5, and I'm thinking what 5-year-old Petra is going to look like. But it helps. And in order to do that, I've had to look at pictures of little girls because the proportions of a child is not the proportions of an adult.
Right.
A
Exactly.
5-year-old is not proportioned like a 12-year-old. The 12-year-old is not proportioned like a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old is not proportioned like someone in their 30s. As you age, body proportions shift and whatnot. And it is important, especially if you're trying to say, this is a small child. You need to make it look like a small child as opposed to a skinny hobbit. Okay? So, and go to Google, get a Pinterest account and create Pinterest boards. Create one for each of your characters if you want. Do the research. Don't just start so that you can say, oh, okay, so if they're doing this and there are people posting stuff on Pinterest all the time, fighting styles, I just got a thing on art. I just found some stuff on Art Nouveau and I'm designing a spaceship off of it. You never know what you're going to find. And you never know what's going to be useful.
One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to things like that in comics, and it is not just new comic artists, everyone does this. I don't know if I ever find out the person who taught it to them, I'm going to go and just slap them. You do not throw a punch like this.
No.
I've seen that Jim Lee draws Batman doing this. I've seen everyone do this. I'm like, what are you doing? My elbow's way up here. I'm like, please stop. Just
You
Google
can't
Mike
throw.
Tyson, if
You
nothing
can't
else.
throw enough weight to hit somebody effectively unless you're throwing elbows.
Yes, but
You're not gonna. You can't throw enough weight behind your fist if your elbow's way up there.
it drives me
there's
crazy, but I
multiple
see it all
things
the
that's
time.
going wrong with that too, and I have been in several arguments with other fellow artists, and this is one of the reasons why I have a hard time. You know, if I could put it this way, I have a hard time finding somebody else to even attempt to draw the way that I write because of the simple fact that they don't understand combat and they don't understand point of impact. Because, like you said, if your arm, if okay, I have to do it this way. If you're trying to throw a punch like that, usually you turn back like this, so you will have to be like kind of like moving back to say that you're in mid swing. You just can't throw a punch dead even like that and expect to have any type of force behind it. You have to be like really pulling back.
You've got and you're turning your body. Children. I'm calling y'all children because some of y'all mentally are more like children. Children, watch when the Summer Olympics comes out again. Watch the boxing matches. Watch those boxing matches. You want to know how to properly throw a punch. They have boxing, they have judo, kickboxing. Watch that stuff.
Do not watch the taekwondo or the karate sports, though. They're fucking terrible.
Okay.
No, I do have to say one other thing here. Do that, but I also want you to pay attention to one other thing here. If you watch them and you record them, when you watch the recording, play it in slow motion for you to understand how a body's position happens after point of impact. I'm so tired of seeing comics where it's like the guy punched down, punches straight through like this, and the guy is flipping upside down. It's like, no, he goes in the direction of the punch. So the person is actually, in pain, getting spun around in the same direction that the punch is thrown. He's not flipping and doing all this other stuff. It's like, it may look pretty, but it's wrong. I'm telling you this from the point of view of somebody who illustrates a wrestling book. It's wrong. It's so wrong.
In fact,
I don't know if they still do it, but there was a company that would do replays of the UFC events on YouTube and do them in super slow-mo, where you could see not only the way the body's moving for the throw or the punch or the kick or the arm bar or the choke, but also the way
the facial and everything, the muscular
or the body,
the distorting and everything.
Yes,
in fact,
and it's such a good resource. Even if you're not drawing a book that has quote unquote trained fighters in it, you still need to. It doesn't matter. The body still
the body is going to react how the body is react when it's impacted. Another thing, if you don't want to take time for that, a great old series used to be the $6 Million Man, because they would slow down some of those fights. It was interesting because slowing down the action was to infer that Steve was moving faster than his opponents. But you also got to see, they did it in a few Wonder Woman and Bionic Woman as well, where there would be fight scenes and it would be slowed down. So you could see that punch thrown and you would see impact and you would see the body react, fall backwards or whatever. They don't just, hit you and you crumble. You are going to be thrown because that impact and the momentum is going to slam up against you unless your opponent, is like, unless you're like, you're Gimli and your opponent is like a 7-foot tall Urukai and you don't have your battle axe and you're just tink, tink, tinked on his kneecap until it goes bang on the top of your head. You know, watch some. There were some old fight scenes. Bruce Lee, when Bruce Lee was working, he did some amazing fight scenes. I don't know if you guys ever saw any of the old Bruce Lee movies. They had some back in the early days of Kung Fu. They had some great shots before people started flying up in the air and twirling with their swords and stuff.
I wouldn't say look at Bruce Lee movies. I would say just look at the combat from Green Hornet.
Yeah. Bruce Lee and the Green Hornet days. Oh my goodness, that combat is beautiful. And if you watch it on your computer, freeze it, you see something, slow it down. Ooh, wow, that looks good. Freeze it. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot and collect all those screenshots and put them in a folder. And then put that folder on something that you could take with you when you're working. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. It's not that scary. Believe me, I promise it isn't. There are things you can do. Yes, it takes a little time, but it's the difference between someone reading your book, putting it somewhere and forgetting about it, and someone getting that book and putting it somewhere, and then a year, and getting the next issue and the next issue. And then on a rainy day when they've got nothing else to do, they're going to pull those issues out and read them again. Hello, I got books. Alien, Mage, whatnot. You have no idea how many of those books, when it's a rainy day and I've got time to myself, I'll pull something out, and I've already read it for 4 or 5 times, but I'll read it again because that book was that good. Okay? It's not something that you want your book to last. You want something, you got to make it memorable. And the way you make it memorable, grounded in reality. I don't care how fantastic it is, grounded in reality. People say, why was Tolkien so good? Because he gave you elves and dwarves and hobbits and whatnot, but he grounded it. By the time you got through that first description of Hobbiton, you had an idea of where you were, the time, the place. You knew the smell of Hobbiton. You knew the feel of the earth under your foot. By the time you get to Barad-dûr, you know it stinks. It's hot. It's humid. It's horrendous. And there are men there in armor who are going to fight for their lives. You get to know what these places are. Okay? He gives, even though it's a vanity story, he gives you reality. What does the dead marshes smell like? It's bubbling, it's oozing.
Or don't be as stupid as I was with the creation of Amazonia, because I made an 18-foot woman fit in normal buildings. And it's through 2 things. It's one, because of one of her power set that she has, and 2, there has been legislation that at least allow her to be able to enter buildings on the ground floor level without any encumbrance.
But
and again, I got lucky with explaining that early on.
And I
actually showed it several times where if you didn't pay attention to the glowingness around her as she entered rooms and stuff, it's like, if people ask her, it's like, how are you fitting in here? She was like, because I can.
But we had that time early on when I first started editing for you. You and I sat there for 2 hours and had that conversation. It's how is she getting out of these buildings? They're not making all these buildings for entry.
And I told her, it's like, have you paid attention to the lines and stuff that I draw around her when she goes through the door? She's actually warping space around her for she could actually fit in.
But
I did it visually where people would understand she's using a power. I don't have to say I have this power to warp space around me unless somebody directly asks her.
But like I said, we spent 2 hours just discussing that and how that worked into the story and whatnot. That was what was that? That was a 2-hour. One of the first times we worked together. That was a 2-hour phone call.
She couldn't get past that. It's like, how is she walking through the bank like this? She shouldn't be able to do that. She's standing at least 2.5 stories at this point. How is she doing that? How is she moving naturally so?
But
and I just have to go back to her and show her graphically. That's like, I didn't specifically state that she's using her powers at this point, but her powers is, activates on its own because, again, she has learned to deal with this on a consistent basis. By the time I got to issue number 3, Karen asked her directly, it's like, hey, downstairs is a lot taller than up here. How are you moving around up here without any problems? And she told her, it's like, yeah, there's 2 things that came into play. One, normal buildings and everything to that magnitude, it got legislated across the whole entire nation that they have to accommodate for people like myself. And 2, I have the ability to kind of warp space around me, and it activates by itself. I got used to it where it just activated by itself. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to have a second thought about, can I fit through here?
It's a reflex. Mm-hmm. But that's what editors do. We sit down, and there are people you were going to sit there and go,
she got on me. She read issue 1 and she just kept going, like, how is she doing? How is she, infiltrating this building like this? I was like, I drove him see the lines here? I show how she's warping space. Every time she went through the door, you see how I'm showing how she's warping the space around her to fit without causing any damage.
And just so you know, I didn't edit book 1.
Yeah,
I already had edit. I didn't edit issue 1.
She didn't edit issue 1 or issue 2. She came in about issue 3, and when she read it in issue 3, it made issue 1 and issue 2 make sense to her.
But as an editor, you ask those questions because
just like the titty twister.
You ask those questions because I know the reader is going to ask these questions. And so we have to make things make sense so that the reader doesn't feel like nothing insults a reader more when they think the writer is coming at that, I'm too smart for you. And you have to figure it out. So the reader, sometimes you do have to simplify things so that the reader will get it. That's just the nature of what we do. Okay? You want the reader to stick with the story, you have to kind of think about what level the reader is reading at. There's a reason why 3-year-olds don't read Shakespeare. And I'm gonna let it go for that. I'm gonna be nice, Joe. I'm gonna shut up.
No. It's not that. I'm just thinking about how far Amazonia has come from issue 1 to now.
It's been quite a journey. It's
like, and we're nowhere near towards the end of that story because, like I said, I wrote it as if it's going to be an ongoing series here. I already got the next 2 story arcs already mapped out. I just have to get past finally drawing the rest of the first story arc, because the first story arc is about 15 issues long. And people look at me, it's like, why 15 issues? It's because it's a lot to unpack to deal with her for her homecoming back to Angel Falls. I just can't do it in 5 issues. If I did it in 5 issues, it would end up something like this. It's like there would have been leaps and jumps that people would be like, why would this person react like that?
And just so you know, people, this is an adaptation of a screenplay. I wrote the screenplay while I was at the American Film Institute. It was my project as a first-year film student. I was required, along with all my classes and crewing on 3 different movie shoots, to actually complete a screenplay. So this is an adaptation of that screenplay. And the screenplay is about 115 pages. This at 60 pages covers the first 15 pages of Act 1. It's going to be 7 books, okay? Because it takes that long I have learned, and this was my learning curve because I had to learn that those 15 pages took me 66 hand-drawn pages because I had to make it clear. What was easier told in a screenplay had to be a little more spelled out for the comic in certain things about how, and I had to make changes on how certain scenes played out. And now I'm on the second half of Act 1. Book 2 is the second half of Act 1. So we're still in Act 1. I got 2 more acts to go. And each book covers about 15 pages of the screenplay. But it takes work because I am learning there, and I'm storyboarding because I'm learning there are things that worked for the screenplay for the time in which it was written, that as I'm putting it on the book page, it's a lot different because it isn't a moving image. So it's like, okay, I know of this scene. I know this scene would have lasted this long on screen, but I'm putting it on paper. And these are not a moving image. These are frozen images, and they have to tell that same story. So it's going to take a little more time, but having an idea, knowing where my story is supposed to go, just like Joe's got his arc. The only thing that's helping me is I've already written the script, and I actually this summer spent weeks just breaking it down, making sure I knew where it was going to start and where it was going to stop, and making adjustments in the screenplay to make sure it would work for the book. Takes work, takes time. And, the fact that you got this book out here, dude, congrats. Really, I am pulling for you. I am at least willing enough to bug Joe and go, hey, what happened in the next issue?
And that's the good thing that I told him. It's like, I'm happy to do this for him, to do a review. And he says like, yeah, I am working on issue number 2 as of right now. And I'm up here. It's like, dude, don't take a long time to get issue 2 out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons why I haven't released Legends of the Giant Slayer until next year, because I'm working on issue 3. So when you put out that issue number 1, if it is a success, if people love it, you got enough people interested into it, you better be ready for having that issue number 2 real quick. If you don't have that issue 2 within like that first 6 months to a year, people will forget about it.
Did you want a copy of this, Cliff?
Sure.
Okay. It's gory,
But
so the girls can't read it. That there's gore in here.
As Elaine was saying here, here's the comic script for issue 8, issue 9, issue 10. I'm on top of it. I know where things are going. It just it takes me a long while to draw.
That's pretty much it. You shouldn't be sitting there making it up as you go along. You should have a script. And I will say, if you haven't already done so, sit down with an editor and go through the story arc and then start working out the beats. And an editor can help you line up what beats from this point on need to be. If you've only got 16 pages, you're putting that's a dense 16 pages.
Very dense. Very
quick dense.
Quick pace, and it's going like boom, 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 boom.
And people are going to get lost. People are going to get lost. So I would say slow it down just a bit. Think of it as if you were doing a 30-page book and then split that in half. And then that's your next book in the book after that. Work on it that way. And okay, at this point I need to stop. And then I know I'm going to stop over here. So this is a cliffhanger for this. I ended a book with a dead girl in the snow, and people going, dang, who ate her? They know somebody ate her butt. They don't know who. They think they know, but I'm not going to say more than that.
And as a writer, you have to know where the story's going, but you have to write it like you don't.
Yeah.
Where the people reading it can follow along. Because a lot of times, when I would write little short stories and stuff for school, I would always be guilty of this. I know the story, so I assume that I just write with the idea
that the story, that the reader also knows the story too.
You can't do that.
That's why I always tell people go back to Shakespeare, because there is some Henry V. There is the scene where they're about to convince the people of the town to just give up. And the narrator comes out and he narrates the battle that has taken place before that scene happens. So he gives you this whole sense of what's going on and whatnot. Watch the Branagh. The Branagh, they do it beautifully in the Branagh version. But because I always thought I was not that into Henry V, and then I saw the Branagh, it was like, dang. And I like Shakespeare, but the way he describes this battle scene, because it's just the man standing in the woods at night telling you a story, but he tells it where you feel it. You can hear the cannons. You can smell the horses and the blood and everything as they are attacking this city. And then, of course, he finishes and Branagh comes out and gives this great speech. But Shakespeare is really good at giving you style and tone, of letting you know where you are and what's happening. From Macbeth. In fact, the guys who did Tolkien, when they were doing the trees that attacked, or when the Ents attacked Isengard, the Tolkien scholar who worked with them, he actually talks about Macbeth. There's a part in Macbeth where they're supposed to be sneaking up on the castle. And the guy goes, I swear I believe the wood didn't move, because they've disguised themselves as trees and are sneaking up on the castle. But usually most plays, some place I've seen that done where the guys just have a couple of twigs. And it's really kind of silly to see. But, in the description in the play, it's beautiful. You actually believe that, this guy is looking out and he thinks trees are about to come and attack the castle. Because Shakespeare gives you the description, through this character, gives you the description so clearly. And you get a sense of where they are and what's happening, and the sense of terror of what's happening. The sort of, holy crap, the wood is coming at us. Hello, the trees got in a really bad head place because trees are about to attack us. He doesn't write it that way. He writes it very beautifully, but you get it. You get a clear sense of, how insane this situation is to this poor man. This is something that's totally out of his sense of reality. And and it doesn't have to be Shakespeare. There are great writers out there. I just like Shakespeare because his descriptive abilities is just top. It's on, what do you children say? It's on fleek. It is just there. And if you have a problem with it, reach out to your Auntie Moo. If there's some Shakespearean something you don't quite get, I'll explain it to you. I'll break it down. Don't worry. Because there's the rub. Yeah, this is why I got my butt kicked a lot in school.
No, I'm just thinking to myself now, it's like this would be a good stopping point because we had 2 hours, 20 minutes.
It's 9:15. Yes. You have family expecting to see you. I have not eaten my dinner, and I have to get up early in the morning and make some runs to spend what little money I do have on making sure that we have toilet paper.
Use socks, it's cheaper.
Okay. I'm gonna let that go.
I'm laughing at that. That actually, if this shows you how the male mind works, it's like, you know what? Buying new pairs of socks might be a lot cheaper than paying $15 for toilet paper.
Yeah.
As
This
long
is
as
the
you watch, as long as
Alfonso.
you
Watch
watch
the
the
Fox.
Fox.
This is
Yeah.
the Alfonso Dunn book. When
Oh,
they're
okay.
ready, I will be sending you
Okay.
this because
Alrighty.
I will
before
be
we cut
sending
out,
pages.
I just wanted to quickly shout out the 2 books I read.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
In
You
case
got
somebody
it
Oh,
wants
good.
to
I'm
read them.
sorry. We got.
Oh no, it's fine. If you want a good laugh, DCKO, they're the new
Now
event this year.
explain that one to me, because some people were saying that that's DC's equivalent to Contest of Champions from Marvel.
Okay, so I don't understand everything that's going on because I'm behind on my current books.
Okay.
But this is the culmination of the DC All In special and the Absolute Universe and everything all coming together. And the heroes of the DC universe all have to fight in a tournament to determine who will become King Omega and fight Darkseid, who has absorbed all of the energy of the Absolute Universe or something. And so they're going to all fight to decide who is the champion to fight Darkseid. And there are 32 competitors who made it to the second round, and I'm just going to quickly read over them and just say why I think this is a ridiculous thing. The Joker, Star Sapphire, Jay Garrick Flash, Vixen, Green Arrow, Etrigan the Demon, Superman, Cheetah, Big Barda, Starro, Batwoman, Plastic Man, Power Girls, Zatanna, Lobo, Hawkman, Lex Luthor, Harley Quinn, King Shark, Aquaman, Black Lightning, Supergirl, Firestorm, Damian Wayne, Wonder Woman, Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, Jason Todd, Cyborg, Cassie Sansamark, Wonder Girl, Captain Atom, and Swamp Thing. And the entire idea that this entire series is about who's going to win this fight when Swamp Thing and Zatanna are there are completely, utterly stupid.
I'm listening to half these names. I'm sorry. I'm listening to half these names, and it's like y'all shouldn't have even made the qual. If you tell me you got somebody with the cosmic big thingy, and one of us has to take him on. So whoever is the strongest among us has to take him on. My first thing is, okay, let's get all the smart guys together. And we know who our power hitters are. And figure out something in the way of, let's come up with some tactics, some strategies. I'm not going to have everybody fight everybody, especially since half them should have been just not even invited to fight. In such a thing. There are people I'm like, okay, now I could see this person, that person, but I'm looking at others going, okay, Vixen, I love you, but this ain't your fight, girl.
That's a valid point.
I love
keep in
you.
mind, they even show it on the cover. Superman, because it's supposed to be a serious fight, he has his made in Fortress of Solitude brass knuckles that he made out of miniature suns.
Okay,
I'm supposed to believe Jason Todd's going to do anything.
I'm like,
wait.
I'm like, okay, now having Batman and Nightwing and those guys in his corner to strategize and help him come up with ideas for stuff they can do. Yeah, I get that, but no, I'm just have them fighters. Damian should have just been somewhere having, give Damian a Coke and a smile and tell him to shut the hell up. He shouldn't be there.
There's a lot of characters that shouldn't be there. Because when I think about something like that, the first couple of characters that come to mind, it's not even Superman. Superman when it came to mind, I was like, where's Spectre? Where's Phantom Stranger? Where's Naboo? Where's Billy Batson, aka Shazam?
Billy Batson got killed off camera.
You're dealing with Darkseid with cosmic powers. They would be the first four that I would be thinking about. Like, why aren't they going out there to deal with him now?
But
you see, like, if you also noticed, Batman was not in that list because Batman got killed before the tournament started, where DC didn't have to explain how he didn't win.
Oh,
and he gets his
somebody
own
just took
separate
him out.
series about what he's doing while the tournament's going on.
I'm
Again, it's a stupid marketing. I'm glad I didn't buy into that book. That's stupid marketing right now. Because
Now, it's
I'd be
written by
ready. I
Scott
would be ready to
Snyder.
rip that book up.
It's written by Scott Snyder and Mark Waid, who I like their writing style. So I'm gonna give it a chance. But so far after the first issue, I'm kind of like, yeah, I may wait on the trade.
Don't come to C2E2 because if I show up at C2E2, somebody's butt gonna hurt.
No, I have actually met Mark Waid, and it's hard to give something like this the benefit of the doubt, to be quite honest here. It might be a fun story by the end of it, but it doesn't make any logical sense considering the fact that I mentioned 4 characters that is not in this tournament, that is not being thought of at this point, that should have been the first people that would have gone to fight this ultra powered dark side.
Oh, and this will really make your blood pressure go up, Joe. And then I'm going to bring up my other book.
No.
Instead of having the the quintessence being the ones who are telling the heroes about this all coming up, they have a new group called the Quantum Quorum, who are supposed to be like they're like the old timekeepers who apparently people forgot existed. And it's made up of the World Forger, who was created by Scott Snyder for the metal event, Gorilla Grodd, the Time Trapper, who we find out is really Doomsday because Doomsday lives long enough to become the Time Trapper, and Booster Gold.
Whoa.
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm
on
done.
That, on
I'm
that,
done. I'm done.
On that note, we thank you for joining us.
But on a happier note,
I keep my mouth shut here, Elaine. But yeah, I'm happy that I didn't buy into that series as of yet. And what's the second
on
book?
a happier note, for the theme of Halloween, I also read Exquisite Corpses by James Tinian from Image Comics, and it is a really, really good read if you like off the wall, conspiracy theory, serial killer stuff. It's really good. But if you just want a good laugh, read DCKO.
I can't even laugh.
Well, really quick, because I was supposed to have done this at the beginning and I didn't. Okay. For kids, you can't go wrong with Monster Squad. And you can find it at Paramount Plus, YouTube TV, Hulu Disney Plus, Fubo TV, Google TV, Apple TV, and Fandango at home for $3.99. Ruby Gloom for you little kids. And if you want to sit and watch something as a family and all the family can get into it, the Addams Family animated film. It's on Prime. It's on Prime Video, Paramount Plus, YouTube with subscriptions, but you can find it on Fandango for $5.99. Or if you want to save a couple of bucks, look up Google or Apple TV, and they have it for $3.99. Okay. That's the end of Auntie Moo's spooky season. We covered some stuff. There was some stuff I was getting into, and I would have had to take in 2 whole shows just to go into that stuff. But it gives me the next few years, okay? So that's it. Thank you for coming. Y'all have a good day. I am tired. I got a headache. It's been a crappy day. We love you anyway, okay? I know you got to see what I do for work. Now you know why they pay me the bucks, okay? Y'all take care. Catch you in the funny pages. Peace.
And here we got Cliff.
Well, I'm still here in Olive Branch, trying to figure out all this that's almost blinded me this episode. But thank y'all for coming. Come again. Thank you. Good night.
And as always, tonight's episode is brought to us by Plasma Fire Graphics. Why? Because Jeffrey Hayes, the award-winning artist, can get people to your table by having that stunning cover for your novel, your graphic novel, your comic book, anything that you need here. If you don't believe me, take a gander at this.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've seen the covers, you've seen what's available out there. Now give Jeffrey Hayes a quick little message over there at plasmafiregraphics.com or his Facebook group for Plasma Fire Graphics. As far as I'm concerned, I will be here on Saturday for another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. And I'm keeping my word. I'm keeping my mouth closed about ranting about what Cliff just mentioned here, because just the image of just having Booster Gold coming to the rest of the superheroes drinking a soda cola, talking about, yeah, we gotta do this now because we got this all powerful dark side over here. It's like, how did you've been here in modern day DC for how long? You've been too far away from your time. How would you know all of this stuff? I just know. No, doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me as a story. But nevertheless, me is here once again next Thursday. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. I believe we will be doing. I believe next week is my tour. Give me 1 second here. I believe it is my tour. I'm just trying to see for myself here. Next week is my tour. We're going to be talking about my tour. We're going to be talking about other comic book related stuff, and we're in Thanksgiving, so you know what that means. We're going to be talking about steals and deals and possible other stuff to look forward to as far as comic book related stuff and geek culture related stuff. But until then, live life, grow, and be well. And unlike our founder, Brian K. Morris, who is still out there watching us from afar, I don't care if you ever wash your hands, but I do mean this wholeheartedly. Never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. See you next week, and we are out of here. Bye.